I feel like you've got to decide if you're going to make your homestead into a business or if it's just going to be a homestead. I'm a one-man or a one-woman show. I highly advocate people getting into a new animal, having a mentor, like $25,000 financial loss. I've done really well with one, and I'm like, why would I ruin a good thing?
You are Amanda.
Yes.
And this is Makono Farm.
Makono Farm, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So before we dive in, I want to talk about your name.
Okay.
Because it has a really, really cool story.
Yeah.
So what does Makono mean and why did you choose that name?
So Makono means hand in Swahili.
Okay.
And Jason served in Kenya for 3 years on a U.S. Navy Civil Affairs Squadron.
Okay.
The Navy hired boat drivers to go in and out of the coves off of the Indian Ocean.
Okay.
Every time that they would land in a new village, the boat driver would say, Makono Mombwana, which means go with the hand of God.
Okay.
And
as like a protection or like a, okay.
Yeah, like a goodbye greeting, but also like a prayer of protection.
Okay. Okay.
When Jason left there, after 3 years, his boat driver, Jafar, made him a piece of driftwood that says Makono on it, because not only did he say that to him every single time, it also means our last name.
Your last name is?
It's Hand.
Hand.
Yes.
Wow.
So when we were trying to figure out what to name our farm, we kept arguing about, this and that, going through, the same type of farm names that a lot of people think of, based on the trees on their farm, or the type of animals they're raising,
or their last name.
Yes, and since we were doing Kuni pigs, which kind of sounds very, like islandish.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Very native sounding. We thought we would go ahead and use Makono because I had found that piece of driftwood on a day where we were discussing the name of our farm. So that's kind of how we got the name of the farm. And it's got a lot of other daily connotations to it, and the fact that, we do really believe in taking such good care of the creation that God has given us, that, we are daily in it with our hands, taking care of these animals, preparing good products for our community to consume, etc. So it's kind of got a little cool meaning for all of the things that we do with the farm.
It's like you really couldn't have picked a better name.
Right.
I mean, it's just literally perfect for everything you're doing here.
Yeah.
That is so cool. While we're at Makono Farm, what do you guys have here?
Our main focus is Kuni pig.
Okay.
We've been raising them since spring of 2018.
Okay.
We raise them solely for pork production.
Okay.
So, I do sell breeding stock. We do show them. So we've got really good conformationally correct stock, but we cull very heavily. Not a whole lot of animals leave our farm as breeding stock because I want the best leaving.
Okay.
To combat that. And for preservation purposes, I believe people should have an outlet for the culls. The meat products is a way to do that.
So you focus on breeding.
Yes.
But
we're farrow to finish.
Okay, so you're farrow to finish. So you focus on breeding, but when they aren't good for breeding stock, that's what you turn into the meat product.
Yes, that goes into our meat herd. Like right over here, we've got new fall litters.
Okay.
Actually, I should say we're a farrow to fork farm.
Yeah.
Because we're not just finishing them, we're also selling them to our community so that they can consume the products.
So why Kuni? Because, that is, it's like the homestead breed, right?
Yeah.
But they're very low production. You don't get a lot of meat off of them. You get tons of fat.
Yeah.
So why this breed?
For several reasons, we chose Kuni pigs. Niche market.
Okay.
Ease on the land. I'm really big into permaculture.
Okay.
And rotational grazing systems. And I don't have to worry about these pigs just being destructive.
Right.
Super easy to manage, safe for kids, safe for people to come visit our farm.
Yeah, when we got here yesterday, one of them was out.
Yeah, Joella.
Twice. Joella was out twice, and I helped you get her back in.
Yeah, super easy.
She was so chill.
Yeah.
You're finished
a lot of homesteaders, and probably if I was homesteading, I would grow out to 14 to 16 months.
Okay.
But I butcher at 12 months.
Okay.
Regardless of weight, because that's where my breaking point is for profitability.
Okay.
So I've chosen stock from around the country, and I'm raising genetics that will get to me to anywhere between like 180 and 220 by 12 months.
Okay.
Which gives me a good amount of finished product without the pigs being too fat.
Yeah.
And you can easily overfeed Kune pigs. You cannot feed a Kune pig like you would a Mangolista.
Really?
Or an Ossabaw.
So do they forage really well then?
They're great foragers.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to step over?
Yep.
Another reason why I love them is they are very obedient to electric fences. So get you in here. So here's a small litter. Gracie had a large litter in the spring and decided to only give me 2 this fall.
Okay.
But
Hi, guys.
you know, they're just
Look at her.
super chill. You guys are chill, aren't you? Yeah.
Especially with having pigs on the ground. I mean, that was our hardest time, is those mamas would get protective
Right.
when those babies were on the ground.
Yeah, I can totally be with them if I want. I can totally be with them the entire time during their farrowing. I've never once had a sow try to attack me.
That's awesome. Hi, guys. I love piggies.
Super cool and curious and smart. And I mean, Kunies are kind of almost like having a dog. They're just so, let me see if I can get these guys out. This is a really great sow.
Okay.
Has amazing milk production.
Oh, she's nursing right now. And the babies are like, where are you going?
Yep, they are nursing. You're about to. Hey, babies.
That noise. I don't know if we can hear it. Yeah, I know we can't hear it on camera, but them suckling.
Yeah.
That is my favorite noise. It's just so sweet and cute.
I can get down here and see if the
mic will
pick it up. I love this song that they actually sing when the milk is coming down.
The song.
Yeah,
Wait,
they'll like their tone will change when their milk starts coming down. It's almost like she's saying, "Hurry up, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming." There we go.
Oh, baby. Nope.
You gonna let them drink while we're sitting here?
Gun that down for us? She might not, actually, with a stranger being here. She's got her tongue hanging out. It's okay. We can let them be. That way they can eat.
Watch, she'll let it down once they.
I know, as soon as we walk out. So how great, though, that we were able to just sit there.
Yeah.
And she didn't care.
Bother her.
They're getting hungry.
Yeah.
Must be feeding time around here for everybody.
Yeah.
So how many total sows do you have?
I have, right now, I have, let's see, 4, 6, 10, 12, and 4 more replacement gilts that will be used next year.
You have 12 sows.
12 sows.
Are they all here?
No.
Okay.
Some of them are over in the woods. We'll see them in a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So you've got them all spread out. So this is just your farrowing crew then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because of the time of year, I move them closer to the barn so that we can have electricity for
the heat.
Heat lamps.
Hi, you guys are very friendly.
These guys are super friendly because Mama had mastitis.
Okay, this is your one that had mastitis.
Yeah. My very first case of mastitis.
How are you handling that?
She was on lots of antibiotics, a couple trips with the vet out, me going to the vet to get different antibiotics.
Was it just in one teeth?
No, it was in 4.
Oh.
It was one of the worst cases of mastitis my vet had ever seen in a sow. And normally the treatment that she does nips it like that, and we had to double that treatment and then even move on to stronger drugs. It was bad. I had to make a decision. Am I going to pull the piglets? I'm going to leave them on? And really, to work through mastitis, it's best to allow the piglets to keep nursing.
Yeah.
So we supplemented. First time I've ever supplemented an entire litter, I used Ralco Birthright, which is an amazing milk supplement just for pigs. It's not something that you can get at Tractor Supply. You got to order it online.
Okay.
It's worth every penny because
Really?
they've done amazing, and just supplementing them AM and PM kept them full enough that they would still nurse and be interested off of her.
That was my question.
Yeah.
I mean, even as humans,
Yes.
if we supplement our breast milk, our production goes down.
Yeah.
So you didn't notice a drop in her production after that.
No.
But it helped her through her mastitis.
Yeah.
That is great.
I think I would have lost piglets had I not supplemented.
Really?
And then I think I could have lost her had I not kept them on her. Yeah.
Okay.
I actually do think she might be, a couple teats might be completely done
Shot.
for. Yeah.
So and I'm sure this is a hard decision for you to make and maybe an answer you don't have right now, but is she going to be one that you'll have to call?
Possibly. We'll see. She's a super great sow. If she were to have 7 piglets again, she'd definitely be able to feed them, even with having damaged a couple teats. But
How many
we'll
teats
just see.
total does she have?
She's for 14.
Whoa!
Which is a lot for a Kune. Yeah. So I think she could do fine. Well, I'll probably try her one more litter and see what happens. Obviously, if she gets mastitis again, she'll be definitely done.
Yeah.
For sure. And then if the litter struggles, she'll be done.
Yeah. So you're gonna try another round of breeding, and
I'll probably try her again in the spring, and we'll see what happens. I'm the farm of second chances. I always give a sow a second chance.
well, as you should.
Yeah.
I mean, to tell an animal that like, oh, you had a bad run, you gotta die.
Right.
That's kind of hard.
Yeah.
Hard to say. I know I've heard of some even homesteaders that are like, well, she laid on her first litter of piglets, so we'll just have to get rid of her. And I'm like, but that's her first litter.
Yeah,
like,
there's just a lot more like involved in why things like that happen that aren't even in the control of the animal. It could be the farmer's management practices.
Right.
And the husbandry practices of the farmer. It could be environmental, like what's going on with the weather. So
maybe she's trying to keep them warm and she just laid on them on
First time mom. I mean, a lot of homesteaders breed their animals too soon.
That's
and then
true.
you've got young animals giving birth to babies that they're just as instincts haven't just been developed yet.
Yeah. So speaking of some of those husbandry skills, how do you manage that? What specifically do you do for your girls to keep things safe?
Yeah, for farrowing?
Yeah, for farrowing.
I always move them to, I do vaccinations.
Okay.
For the sows. They get Litter Guard and FarrowSure prior to breeding or during gestation.
Okay. What purpose for that?
FarrowSure some major things that it helps against are reproductive viruses like lepto that can cause mummified piglets, litter sizes, things like that.
Yeah.
Litter Guard is definitely to pass on immunity to piglets. The big things that I'm using Litter Guard against would be like E. coli.
Okay.
Clostridium. Things that can cause piglet scours.
Now you have running water on this farm.
Right.
So you have like a creek here.
Right.
And
a creek back there.
Yeah. So you have a lot of ways that things like that can get onto your farm. While people may be against vaccines, it's important for your farm because of what you have going on.
Yeah, and I think the more animals that you're working with, the more likely you're to see those things and deal with viruses, deal with reproductive issues. We've got people coming and going.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah,
exactly.
You guys your vehicles have been to different farms. So like biosecurity is a big thing.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily vaccinate our meat herd, but I do vaccinate our sows.
Yeah.
And I have seen a definite difference between the years that I've not done that.
Okay.
In the years that I have.
The business or the management practice has worked well for you.
Another thing is that we deworm a month and then 2 weeks prior to farrowing, just to ensure babies are born without a worm load.
Yeah.
6 litters are what we're having this fall.
Okay. And how many pigs do you usually get per litter? So we've seen 7 and then we've seen 2. So is it that
so
wide range?
It can be that wide a range. The 2 sows that gave me 2 this fall had larger litters in the spring.
Okay,
So I don't know, I don't know if it was the boar I used, the time of year. They were bred in the summer, and I've not really had a whole lot of success with like summer breeding.
Yeah, it's hot.
So it's hot. They're not super interested in it. So I don't know if that had something to do with how many they actually settled.
Maybe dehydrated, maybe sperm count was lower.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, even having a big litter. And then, maybe their body's just not ready to do that again. Right. So they just need a little rest.
Yeah. You guys actually are just missing. We had tons of pigs out here.
Really?
We butchered all of our meat herd for the rest of the year just like 4 weeks ago.
Okay.
Right before you guys called.
Oh no.
So
how many pigs was that?
42.
Whoa.
And then we butchered another, I had another guy pick up a roaster, and then we butchered another 5 here on farm for roasters. So like within the matter of a week, we were down 48 pigs. Yeah.
Whoa. So do you have freezer space for that? Or is that pickup on slaughter?
Yeah, I've got freezer space for most of that. And then we've got a salami line. Okay. So a lot of that trim also went to Wisconsin, to the Salumeria that we work with.
Okay.
For our next batch of salamis.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a lot of it actually.
Okay. Now, because the yields are so low with this breed of pig, do you get a lot of salami from them, or how does that work?
The Salumeria that I'm working with only will take front and hind primals. Okay. So the middle primal, right now I've got a slew of bacon and pork chops, which is fine because our customers love that. Yeah. But I've worked with Salumerias in the past that have used the entire pig, and which is way easier to manage in my opinion. It's been a huge learning curve to do all the math and figuring, cost analysis and all that sort of stuff, kind of splitting the pig up this way. Right. But no, 7 pigs, I get 300 pounds for trim. Yeah.
That's a lot more than I expected it to be. That's awesome.
And then I get all my pork chops, my ribs, my bacon back, and the jowls.
Because selling a ham is hard. Selling ham steak is hard. Selling shoulder roasts are hard.
People love shoulder roast. I'm actually got 1 shoulder roast left, and I think I'm gonna have a bunch of upset customers because we stick all those shoulders to get made into salamis, But you're right, hams are super hard in this part of the country.
And we used them for ham steaks, loved them. The customer base, no, they want pork chops, bacon, and sausage.
Yeah, most of our hams always go to sausage.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Hi, guys.
So this is a smaller group of young spring girls.
Okay, so these are going to be your replacements?
Yeah, she's a replacement. Actually, she's older. And these 2... and that one there's a replacement. And then I've got 2 meat pigs.
Okay, this one here and that one.
Yeah.
What about those 2 out there?
So those are sows. We can walk out there.
Okay. Oh, and there's another one over there.
Yeah. So these are sows that just are in their resting period.
Okay.
I know you guys already had food. I broke this gate.
Oh no.
Day. I fell into it and it just ripped it right off the hinge. No. I'm always tripping over everything. Hi, guys.
You guys are so sweet. Oh, I miss having pigs.
I think it's time to move you, Sassy. You're getting fat eating all the little ones' feed. She's about 6 months older than them.
Oh, okay. So you said the sows that are out here are on a rest period.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
Just that they've had litters. I'm just allowing them a couple months of resting between being bred again. Also, they're in a rest period because I didn't want to breed, when they've been open for a couple months and I just wasn't ready to breed for my own, farm scheduling. So there's 4 out here that will get moved with boars next month.
Okay.
For spring litters.
Okay.
Yeah. I hate summer litters and I hate dead of winter litters. Summer, it's so hot. They want to be in wallows or in water, and you don't really want your babies in the wallows or water.
No, you don't.
And there's just so many flies and things. But yeah, we rotate with a wagon wheel during summer months.
Okay.
I call it a half wagon wheel. So we've got this gate here that's got access to the creek and across. And then, which we can walk over here so you can see. And then I've got another one that the sheep are on right now. And what we do is we park their feeding area, their water source, and their huts right here. And we rotate in spokes off of this area.
Okay.
It's so hard to see since we're not rotating as often anymore since everything's dying.
Right.
But this is kind of...
How often do you rotate in the summer?
It kind of depends on the rain.
Okay.
Anywhere between 4 days and 10 days.
Okay.
So it kind of depends on how many animals are on that spoke and what kind of rainfall we've had. This summer was kind of a blessing because once we got out of the spring drought and before we got into the fall drought, we had rain every week. So I was able to let them sit for 7 to 10 days, which was it eased my workload.
Yeah.
Because I'm the one that's out here moving fence.
And I just want to stop. This is just a beautiful farm.
Thank you.
I mean, it just, especially this time of year too with the foliage changing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've got like about 7.5 acres down here in this big field going all the way over to where the pigs were farrowing.
So we were
way over there, yeah. And then we've got about 8 acres in our woods.
Okay.
That we've cleared with a grant from Food Animal Concerns Trust.
Okay. I haven't heard of them.
Oh, they're a really cool organization. You ought to look into them.
Okay. Food Animal Control Trust.
Concerns Trust.
Concerns Trust.
Also known as FACT.
Okay.
Yeah, they're an Illinois-based 501(c)(3).
Okay.
And they do a lot of things with like farm bills and legislation from a federal standpoint.
Okay.
And then they have lots of like cool mentorship programs for farmers.
Okay.
Webinars. Oh my gosh, free webinars of all sorts of things for all sorts of farming, business to husbandry. And then they give grants every year.
Okay.
It's Fund a Farmer grant is what it's called.
Fund a Farmer grant.
Yeah, or Fund a Farm. I can't
Fund a Farm.
Yeah. Okay. And we applied for one this last year. Basically, we got funded to help us with what's called a silvopasture project.
That's really cool.
Here we got couple little rogues.
Where are you guys from?
This is their
mom.
That's his mom right here. Okay. So what I've got going on here, this was a litter of 7 and 5 of them have gone to another farm.
Okay.
As feeders. So I had somebody locally that wanted to feed out some coonies, and so their brothers and sisters left. But because the weather got colder, the best place for them to stay is with mom to keep warm. And so I just left them, and they can come out here and eat without mom stealing their extra food.
Okay. So are they still nursing?
I don't think so.
She weaned them.
Looks like she's weaned them.
Did you?
She still takes good care of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's weaned them.
So you notice that your sows will wean themselves?
Yeah, usually around 10 weeks they'll self-wean, if not by 8 weeks.
Wow, that's really cool. I didn't know that.
And in the winter, I'll leave them fall, winter litters. I definitely leave them longer if they've weaned for sure, or they look like they're self-weaning, just for warmth.
Okay.
Like if they've not had to have a heat lamp or anything because you're in there.
Yeah, with mom.
Yeah. This is a group of up-and-coming boars.
Okay.
And one of my older boars. My very first boar, actually.
Okay.
So, and this is a barrow right here, meat pig. Just guys that I'm watching. Maybe I'll keep them here. Maybe I'll sell them to another farm. But I like to watch them and make sure they're growing right. Make sure their testicles both come down, because that's...
Why? Why do you want to see that? Not just the testicles coming down, but why do you want to watch them grow?
Confirmation.
Of
the
what?
Best. I want the best leaving my farm.
Okay.
So if I wouldn't show this pig, it's not going to leave as a breeding boar.
So they run back here.
So yeah, we've got these 2 pens. We had some fighting going on. That's why the piglet netting is up. I think that fighting is done. But we've got 2 pens. These 2 pens have actually been planted, but because of the time of year, things have started to die off.
Planted with what?
We did lots of shade grasses, and then all of the legumes and things that we've got growing out there. So,
because I mean, you have some really nice, large, mature trees, but also it looks like your canopy isn't very full.
No, so that's what we did was silvopasture is going in and taking out your smaller trees to open up the canopy so that you've got your mature trees providing some shade, but allowing sunlight in. So we've got some little trees we still need to get up in here by hand that the machine couldn't get for us, which is hopefully something that will get done this winter.
Now, how long ago did you clear this out?
We cleared last fall. Did you like
log it and it basically just got drug off, or did you, because I see like this tree drop.
So this is a tree that fell during the storm. We had really severe storms this summer. So a lot of these branches and things were all gone, and we had just major, Jason looks like he's been working on trees right there, but we just had major like trees falling this summer. It was terrible. So we cleared last fall. We had a machine come in, one of those big machines that just like eat trees and just shoot out, you know, all of the wood to the side. The reason why we chose that method is because it will actually help the soil.
Yeah, because you're adding organic matter to it.
So as that decomposes and stuff, that's just going to enrich the soil even more. It encourages bugs to come in and do their thing. So that's why we chose that method. And then we planted both of these in the spring, not as much as we wanted to, but enough that we could put pigs on here this summer, and they've pretty much, the groups have eaten it down. But last winter, we parked everybody in the woods so that they could take out all of the small brush and stuff that would come up.
So it helped you before you got the tree eater in here. So in here, it looks like you have more males.
I've got 2 sows. With a boar. Our grand champion, man. But this is another reason why I love Kune-Kunes. Their boars are so sweet.
Really?
They're almost sweeter than the sows. Come here, buddy.
And he looks so scary with his husks and his
He does look scary, and he's a big baby.
He wants his belly rubbed. Look at that guy.
He's a good boy.
That's awesome.
So
now, since he's laying in this position, we can really see his wattle. Can you explain what that is for?
So these are called piri piri by the Maori people in New Zealand. And I can't remember. One side of the island, most Kune-Kunes have them. The other side of the island, not many of them did.
Really?
So it's definitely a recessive trait. Some are born with them, some without, some have it dominantly, some have it recessively. So it's kind of, unless you know you've got 2 dominant animals, you're probably gonna have a litter that's got some wattles and some not. The only use, you can't really eat them because it's just gristly. I mean, you could feel it's just squishy, gristly fat in there. But you can get a pulse ox from it. So when I've had to have one with surgery, or this one here went to Purdue and had a CT done, they put her under and gave her a CT scan. They were able to pulse ox right from the wattle.
What is its function? I think I remember it being
decorative.
Hormone.
No, it's just decorative.
Really?
Yeah, totally decorative.
It's just an extra piece of skin.
I guess that's the best way I could explain it. It's decorative. Just an extra piece of skin that makes it something unique about the breed. They also have super long tails. That are usually more straight than curly like a traditional pig.
He's so chill. That's hilarious.
And then he's had his tusks trim a couple times. Super long if we did it. Do
they hurt each other with their tusks if they're not trimmed?
They can. They'll I mean, he's got a couple of scars from fighting when reintroducing, but this is their shield, and that's what I think.
His shoulder is his shield, you're saying?
It's hard. It's like a piece of armor.
It is really, it is really hard.
So if they get cut here, it's not going into fat, and it's just this shield.
That's
now,
crazy.
I've had, like, earlier this summer, I had a boar get cut right up here from a boar fight, and it went straight to the fat and needed stitches and all that sort of stuff. But if they get it on here, it's usually not, it's very superficial.
Huh.
Yeah.
Look at that. I love pigs, and I am learning so much. Had no idea. Is that an all pig thing or a cooney thing?
You know what? I mean, imagine wild boars definitely have armor. I don't know.
I like the more domestic.
I don't know if
boars. I don't think that they do. The Mangalistas. We used 2 boars, and I can't say that it felt like that. Granted, they weren't that friendly, so I wasn't in there trying to touch it.
I imagine Ossabaws have. I imagine I'd have to do research.
Yeah.
I imagine they would have armor just because they're more of like a
wilder breed
too.
Now I will say the Mangies or the boars that we had weren't Mangalista.
Right.
They were Tamworth and Spot.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know what a Mangy boar would have. That's so interesting.
I do want to comment something.
Yeah.
I think coonies are known for being smaller in size. You know, he's 350. Both of these sows in here with him are like 350, 375. So they're not, you know, they are a small breed of pig, but they're not as small as people, I think, have been led to believe.
They're not those cute teacup pigs that people have on social media.
No, no.
Yeah.
No, not unless you are specifically not feeding them right, stunning their growth, things like that to keep them small.
Now, I will say, I mean, they are a smaller pig breed.
Yes, they are the smallest purebred pig in the world.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like if you were to look at a chart of all of the pigs, they'd be at the last one.
Really?
But you've got your potbellies, your Julianas, those are all like interbred, mixed pigs that have been underfed, bred down with dwarfism and all sorts of things to keep them super small. They're not purebred pigs.
Right.
So.
Well, and when I was at Purdue, I did a little research thing about potbelly pig, or not potbellies, about teacup pigs. And I'm like, they're not real. Like a teacup pig is not a real thing. It's the picture of a pig in a teacup.
Yeah.
It's a baby.
Right.
Like that's not a full grown pig.
Right. Right.
Okay, so you got more pigs up here.
Well, I've just got one boar that's by himself right now.
He's in timeout.
Yeah. More so because I'm not ready to give him any ladies, and he doesn't get along with other boars, and all of his meat pig buddies have been butchered. But it'll just give you an idea of kind of like the silvopasture that project that we've been working on.
So do you have permanent fence through your whole woods?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the same that's around the bottom pasture. And then I've got a couple pieces of netting that we'll use to divide up in here and rotate if needed.
Okay.
I kind of envision the silvopasture being the place that we keep animals in the winter time, the pigs, because it's drier up here.
Okay.
That's really wet in the winter, especially if it's been raining a lot.
Okay.
And then also like late summer so that they have shade.
Yep. It's really good. Nice back here.
Yeah, nice and clear, like we've been picking up more wood from it falling.
Yeah. Now this fence is unique. This isn't your typical...
No, these are fiberglass posts from old army tents.
What?
That we could drive into the ground with a post driver. Yeah.
Wow.
And then this is Gallagher's Gallagher's turbo wire.
Okay.
And we've got 6 strands so that we could put cattle, horses, sheep, and the pigs. And the first strand is 6 inches off the ground.
Okay.
So this doesn't keep in our piglets, so that's why I've got piglet netting. But around 4 months old, they shouldn't be able to get out of this.
Okay. And you've just got them tied on there with a little...
Yeah, we've got like a, I don't know.
Push pin
type. I can give you all the...
Was this a cheaper option or an easier option?
Faster, cheaper, easier.
All the above.
That we could do ourselves, put it up pretty fast. We knew that because of the forest, because of the wind that whips through here, that if a tree lands on something, we didn't want to have to replace the entire fence line. So as you can see, here is a good,
Yep.
we had a tree fall. So because we have this turbo wire, it didn't break the wire. It broke one post. So we'll be able to come in and just take off this post and put a new one in.
And you don't have to reline the wire either, the way that the pins work.
Yep, we'll undo these pins, pull them out, pull the post out, stick a new post in, and put the wire right back in.
Whoa.
And then had it like broken, snap the wire, we'd just be able to
tie it back.
Tie it back to itself with those little, I don't know, these
little metal clips.
These little metal clips.
Yeah.
I think we were quoted $25,000 just to fence in the bottom pasture.
With a traditional like wooden?
With a traditional wooden fence or a wire fiberglass post with the wires going through the post, like super fancy, like equestrian looking.
Yep.
All of them were around $25,000 just for the lower pasture. So which would have been about the same amount had we done the woods.
Yeah.
Plus they would have charged us for clearing paths. We were able to do all of this fence for less than $5,000.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm going to toe touch the bottom wire here because like it's tight, like it's taut, but it's not, you don't need equipment.
You don't have to have a stretcher
to stretch it and pull it.
No, this is all hand stretched.
Wow.
Yeah. And they make these they're down at the creek, but let's say, well, we'll probably have to do it on this one, this top one, and the other one that's sagging, but they make these really cool like white plastic tighteners that you can run the fence through and just hand tighten. You don't even need a fancy tool.
Oh,
I love this fence. I love it.
That is awesome. It's just really cool that you can have a reliable fence source, especially for pigs that get curious and like to wander. So it's reliable, it's durable, because even that one that broke, a tree fell on it.
Yes.
But if you had a cow in here pushing on that, they're probably not going to break it, right?
Right.
Like you don't think that.
Right. But I'll tell you what, we've had cows up here before and they've never touched the fence. They get zapped, their nose gets zapped by it once and they don't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So how did you find that fence company?
We drove down the road on the way to the vet and saw a guy that had done this with this fence, and I just stopped and said, hey, can you help us? Tell me all the supplies I need to make this fence happen.
Yeah.
He even was kind enough to come over. He told us where to buy the posts.
Okay.
He told us all the supplies we needed and even came over and showed us how to put up the first line to tie everything together, because he's like, you don't want to knot it, just take the wires and knot it. You need to put that connector on so that you're not losing amperage and stuff.
Yeah.
Or voltage or whatever it is.
You're not losing your shock.
Yeah.
How cool. And the fact then that, like you said, with money saving, you did it yourself.
Yes. Yes. Well, I didn't do it. My husband did.
Well,
my husband and kids helped do it, but yes, I was able to help too.
That's awesome. So there's some learning curve to the fiberglass post, and you can't just do what you would do with a normal one.
Definitely a learning curve, but worth it because they don't rot like wooden posts. So that post should be there forever unless something runs over it.
Yeah.
And then I feel sorry for the thing that it ran over.
And just the way that you could tie the line in.
Hence why I said about the Kune-Kunes, doesn't matter how much they weigh at 12 months, I've got to butcher them for cost effectiveness.
So maybe to reframe that, it's not that you're pushing them to be a certain weight at 12 months. It's just 12 months is where it's at. You have a target weight.
Yeah, I'd like to see them between 180 and 220 at 12 months, but it doesn't always happen. There's always fall behind.
Right. Because they're individual beings.
Right.
They're not machines.
If I was to grow them 14 to 16 months, they would definitely be, a lot larger.
You just can't handle that in a cost.
No.
Okay.
Like I said, as a homesteader, I would totally grow them out like that. If I was just growing a couple out for my family a year, I would grow them out 12 plus months for business purposes.
Yeah.
Trying to make everything financially, you know, where it makes sense.
Right.
12 months is where it's at for coonies.
Right. You've talked about your mentor, and you said that you believe that that's really important. Can you talk a little bit more about why you find that important, and how does somebody find a mentor? Like, can you just go up to somebody and be like, will you be my mentor? How do you do that?
I mean, yeah, you definitely could do that. I feel like really good breeders are going to offer that.
Okay.
If somebody comes and buys a pig from me, they're not just buying a pig. Probably the most beneficial thing they're getting from me is my mentorship, because I'm always going to be there for people that buy pigs from me.
Okay.
If they're local, I mean, I'll go over and help them farrow if they need it. I just think good breeders, good farmers are going to offer that, especially when you're purchasing livestock.
Why is that so important?
I think it's important because you just don't know everything. I've been doing this for 5 years and I'm still learning stuff, you know? And, you know, environmental changes within an animal. You know, sows get older, they get lazier. And you might have a sow that's been a champ at farrowing, and now all of a sudden you got a stuck piglet because she just decides to take a nap while she's farrowing.
Because she's tired.
And so, like, well, if I didn't have a mentor and my vet couldn't come out, I could lose a sow. But sometimes, and I know how to pull pigs, but sometimes when you're like in the heat of things, and there's a crisis, your brain doesn't function right.
And you need a confirmation.
Right. You just need a cheerleader, you know, in the background that's saying, okay, you know how to do this. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to give. So it's just basically having a support system. You know.
That's awesome. So to find a mentor, then it sounds like you're saying if you find a good breeder, you'll probably find a good mentor.
I'm definitely a person that's a proponent of 100% purebred.
Okay.
And, you know, I do not cross my pigs. I wouldn't cross the sheep. I think that's part of preservation. Why am I in this to preserve an animal just to cross it out? Preservation and conservation to me is keeping things as they were to begin with. I'm not saying that people that go cross can't be good mentors or anything, but like if you're in it to find somebody that's breeding coonies, you want them to be your mentor, I would start at somebody that's breeding 100% coonies. I think there's things, you know, indicative to certain breeds that, you know, only a mentor would understand. You know, my vet, who is a professional, went to school for, you know, 8 years to take care of animals, doesn't know as many things specific to coonies as, for say, my mentor does in New York.
Because the vets are trained on the commercial breeds. And they,
you know, coonies usually go to 116 days instead of 114. Their temperatures can be different than commercial breeds.
When they're farrowing, you mean?
Yep.
Interesting.
Illnesses that affect commercial breeds, a coony can hide a lot easier because they're, you know, an island pig, and they're worried about, they still have that wild way about them in a sense that they're going to hide things because of predators, you know.
Or survival. They're worried about surviving, not necessarily worried about having a cold.
Right.
Interesting.
Yep. So, you know, those are the only things that, you know, you can learn from somebody that's been doing it ahead of you and been down that road before and that path. There's ways to, you know, treat and care for, and husbandry methods that go across the board, but when you get down to breed specifics, it's nice to have somebody on your side that's gone before you, and you can learn from their mistakes or the heartaches that they've gone through farming that specific animal.
Now, what about your vet? So you've talked about utilizing your vet. Do you guys have a problem in this area having a good vet? Because I know in other parts of Indiana and the country, it's hard to have a livestock vet.
I'm definitely a proponent of find a vet before you buy your livestock.
Okay.
Yeah, like you need your vet, especially now because you can't buy drugs. You know, you cannot.
That new VFD.
You can't even get penicillin at the, you know, Tractor Supply. So unless you're using homeopathic methods, you need a veterinarian. A lot of them aren't too keen on just you calling up and all of a sudden being a new client. and them handing over meds, you know. So I'm a very strong proponent of using a vet and having one prior to purchasing. I've been blessed. I've got an amazing vet 20 minutes from here.
Oh,
that's
wow.
a livestock vet.
Yeah.
And she sees all sorts of farm animals, and she's amazing to work with.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Balancing your farm homestead desires with your business desires and making both of them make sense.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about that. How do you handle something like that?
Well, I feel like you've got to decide if you're going to make your homestead into a business or if it's just going to be a homestead.
Yeah.
And we were at that point in 2019 for sure where I had to decide, okay, am I going to make this into a brand and start feeding our community, or am I just going to do this for friends and family?
Yeah.
It's hard to be like 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Why is it hard?
Because of the commitment.
Okay.
You know, I feel like I watched your guys' story.
Yeah.
And it really resonated with Jason and I, because once you make the decision to feed your community, there's this pressure to keep up.
Yeah.
You know, there's this pressure to either always keep your freezers full so that there's something to buy, so that you're able to pay your feed bill and the vet bill, you know, or, you know, you're incurring debt and your anxiety ridden because you don't have enough product, or you've got these outstanding, you know, bills from running a farm. I don't think it's something that you can just sit on and be like wishy-washy about. It's like one or the other. And then once you decide, it's an all-in or nothing type of game.
Yeah.
I think that's why I've not added another animal.
Okay.
I've done really well with one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would I ruin a good thing?
That you believe that you should master one species before entering another one.
Yes.
So if you guys started, 5 years ago? Is that what you said? It took you 5 years to master one species.
Yes.
And now you're finally feel comfortable enough to work on another one. And it's a very noble and self-aware thing to say, no, I don't want to get in over my head. I want to master this first. How did you decide to do that? Like, was it just something like that you just were like, that's me, that's my intuition? Or did something or somebody tell you to do it that way?
Well, my husband, if you'd asked Jason, he would have said we would have been growing several different types of animals for years now.
Okay.
Because he's like, well, we could capitalize, you know, somebody that doesn't want pork, they can buy chicken, or somebody that doesn't like chicken can buy beef. I think part of it was me knowing my own constraints.
Okay.
I'm a one-man or a one-woman show.
Okay.
You know, Jason supports in the big things, but he's got a full-time job.
Okay, so he has an off-farm job. So he retired military? Or
he's retired military, and now he's a government contractor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're the only one on the farm full-time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I knew my own constraints, and then I just really wanted to be good at one thing.
Okay.
Like, I wanted to just say, oh, if I'm going to have a niche, then I'm going to be the best at that niche.
Yeah.
Before I move on.
Yeah.
And I think that's another reason why, you know, I'm a little bit apprehensive about the sheep. It's scary to me to add another animal and kind of have to divide my time a little bit more, learn something new. I love learning new things, but to learn a whole new animal, a new way to market it, new cut sheet, new customer base, you know, all of those things. Like, those are scary things sometimes.
Yeah.
Anyway, and because we moved our farm from Maryland to Indiana, that was kind of like starting all over again as far as like customers.
I didn't realize that you farmed before.
Yeah, so we actually started this farm in Southern Maryland.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then 2 years ago we moved it here, the whole farm.
That is, talk about scary.
Super scary.
Okay. How did you handle that transition?
Not well.
Okay. At least you're honest. I love that. You're like, no, I didn't do well with that.
It was a hot mess.
Okay, how did you get through that?
I mean, support of family, mostly. Passion, not wanting to give up on the animals, you know. They're my family. The animals are my family. They're giving to me on a daily basis, and I wanted to do them justice. Also, just the place in life that we're in right now, I just wanted to give it a go and not give up.
Okay.
You know, I'm not a quitter, but you know, sometimes, you know how it is. On a daily basis, you're like, I'm questioning my life choices today, you know?
I still do that daily. Yeah.
You know, we've got high schoolers, so it's like, what else would I do right now?
Right.
You know, so I am going to give this a go. But we had a lot of challenges. We lost our Salumeria in Maryland, and then we tried a new Salumeria in the Midwest, and they ruined 600 pounds of our product.
What?
Yeah. A huge loss, like $25,000 financial loss.
Whew.
And, you know, and then trying to hunt down and find another Salumeria that was willing to work with us. Because that's value added, is like where the buck is for a farmer.
Yeah.
You know, that's where your margins are. So I guess it's just one foot in front of the other, just keep going.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good way to do it, especially on a farm when I think with us reflecting back on our farm, we realized that we saw all of those problems as a whole, and it was very overwhelming.
Yes.
And very soul draining.
Yeah.
Even to think that there was always something wrong.
Right.
How do you handle that, actually? Especially as kind of like a one-woman show. You've got kids in high school, a husband off the farm. You're here by yourself.
Yeah.
How do you handle things that are always going wrong?
I mean, it is overwhelming. It's empowering when I work through it, for sure. I don't know, like, I've learned that I can't fix everything in a day, and I have to be okay with that because I'm a fixer.
Yeah.
And I want everything done, and unfortunately, I like everything to be clean and perfect.
Yeah.
I've had to just realize as I've gotten older in my own, like, growing journey that some things can wait till tomorrow. Take care of the priorities today. You know, since moving here, Jason has been really good about trying to rein me in on Sundays. You know, he's like, it's the day of rest, Amanda. You need to rest from the farm. And, you know, him just really supporting me in that way and encouraging me to rest and telling me to take time for myself and a nap. I'm not a napper, but man, for some reason on Sundays, it's a good day to nap.
That's awesome.
And so I think that's kind of how I deal with it, and I've had to learn how to deal with it that way. Because I will say, in the beginning, it was very soul draining. Like, man, the work of a farmer is never done. It's never done.
Yeah.
And the things that you wake up in the morning and you're like, okay, I've got to do these 5 things today. And you get to number 1 and everything freaking falls apart. Or you look over and something now has fallen apart that's even more pressing than the 5 things you needed to get done today. And it's like the list never ends.
Yeah.
So somebody that's very list oriented would struggle being a farmer.
That's Paul and I.
You're never going to get through the freaking list.
You never get through the list. And not only do you never get through the list, things are always being added to the list.
Yes.
And
I stopped making lists.
You just wake up and you're like, here I am.
What needs to be done today? Every once in a while, that really major things will get put on a list.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, I mean, for instance, this winter, were you guys in Indiana during the week before Christmas where that major storm came in? It was like 40-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah.
We had our huts out. The whole week prior, I prepped.
Okay.
I don't know why I didn't think the pigs could survive winter, but this would have been the first real winter they had been through, because in Maryland we didn't get much snow or wind or anything like that.
Right.
And I was like stuffing huts. We put the shelter logics on the outside, like over kind of the top of the huts to extend the huts so that wind wouldn't be whipping in. I mean, I was doing all sorts of crazy things trying to save the pigs from the winter weather. And we're sitting up in the house and that wind just starts whipping through here. And because we're in this valley, it's even like magnified.
Yeah.
And we see our shelters just like the shelter logics just flying across the pasture.
Oh no.
Taking out fence lines in the creek. And so Jason and I mean, all of a sudden now we've got to prioritize this problem. Our electric fence isn't working. Our shelters are in the creek.
It's -40 outside.
And we're out there now for 4 hours in that weather.
Wow.
Cleaning up the mess that I created by trying to take care of the pigs. to begin with.
Wow.
I mean, it's just that kind of stuff on a daily, weekly, being a farmer.
Yeah. Today is Sunday.
Yes.
So today is a day of rest.
Yes.
So let's call it a thank you.
Okay.
For letting my family come out here,
visit,
do this video. But before we go, if there is a place for people to find you, if they want to know more about you, if they want to buy some pork or some pigs, maybe some sheep in the future, where do they go?
MakonoFarm.com. I can also find me on Instagram, on Facebook at Makono Farm.
How do you spell Makono?
M as in mouse, K as in kite, O, N as in Nancy, O, farm.com.
Okay.
I'm also an AKKPS certified breeder for the American Kune Pig Association.
Okay.
And I'm also a Kune Pork Producers Certified Farm.
Very cool.
And a member of the Empire Kune Pig Association, which is a fantastic educational organization that will teach you everything you need to know about Kune pigs.
We will put all of the organization details in the description link, especially the ones you talked about for the nonprofits and the grants and stuff. We'll put all of that in the description below. But I just want to say thank you again for letting us come out here. I know that our time is not over. We'll be here for a week, so that's awesome. And I love your guys' story. I really love your name. When we talked on the phone, I just was like all excited because I was like, what a cool name. Like you have it's just perfect.
Yeah.
And I love it here. It's beautiful. Your animals look great. And I get to see some piglets. So
yes,
I'm really happy
Piglet
about
snuggles.
that. Yes, definitely piglet snuggles. Okay, thank you so much, Amanda.
Thank you.